All right, let's talk about the massive plot twist that should be keeping the hardcore Bitcoin maximalists awake at night. Had they just decided to grab some XRP anytime before the November elections here in the States, their portfolio would have absolutely lapped Bitcoin's performance several times over. And look, let's give credit where it's due. I'm thrilled with Bitcoin's fantastic run since the election. A solid doubling in price is definitely a win. But then you zoom out and see XRP went on an absolute tear, soaring nearly 600% from its pre-election price and smashing that glorious all-time high this past July. The numbers aren't even in the same league. It's a slam dunk. Of course, you miss that rocket ship entirely if you're blinded by the notorious XRP derangement syndrome, an affliction so many people still have. Look, I was calling it all throughout 2024, and it was just plain obvious. XRP was the superior bet for your return on investment, way better. And yes, I know you can cherry pick little windows of time to show that Bitcoin won or XRP won. Fine, I don't deny it. But think about the context right before the election. It was a total no-brainer. You had XRP, a giant that had been artificially held down for years because of that whole SEC situation, and yet it still never fell out of the top 10 coins by market cap. Shouldn't that make you curious? Isn't that basically proof that the world actually wants it? It was just being suppressed, and it's still right here. Of course. Let's translate that passionate rant into a powerful YouTube-ready monologue. And that's the whole point, right? Like I said, you can always cherry pick a timeline to prove whatever you want. But let's focus on that specific time when the noise from the toxic Bitcoin maxis was absolutely deafening. They were screaming from the rooftops, "Look how low XRP is priced against Bitcoin. Look how cheap it is against the dollar." You know the scene, just hammering away at their keyboards, flooding the internet with all that negativity. And here's the beautiful irony. All that noise they were making was the loudest buy signal you could ever ask for. Think about it. The moment of maximum opportunity to invest in XRP was when they were busy writing its obituary, screaming that XRP was going to fall out of the top 10 and trend all the way to zero. All right, let's talk about what's been happening, because you can't make this stuff up. Some people might call this cherry picking a time frame, but this isn't some tiny slice of the pie. No, this is the whole story that was unfolding for anyone willing to read the pages, and what a story it was. XRP went on an absolute rampage, a total tear, and the best part is that this tale is far from over. So for today's video, I'm just having some fun and want to share the secret sauce with you. A few key XRP metrics. Gosh, I feel like it's been a hot minute, maybe over a month, since we've deep dived on these specific numbers, and man, they are looking incredible. The timing on this is just chef's kiss. Not only are the numbers looking strong, but we're knocking on the door of the final explosive phase of this market cycle. It's the exact climax we've all been waiting for. This has made XRP the place to be, right when it truly matters. And the loud Bitcoin maximalist critics, well, funny enough, their mics seem to be turned off. We're hearing nothing but beautiful golden silence from them lately. So get this headline from Crypto Basic. A former Ripple director points out that MicroStrategy could have seen double its gains if it had simply bought XRP. This actually leads back to a social media post I saw from someone named Dr. Danish, and I'm not sure what his deal is, but he shares this meme of a woman who just looks totally disgusted. I don't know what she's looking at, but it's not good. And this Dr. Danish guy writes, "When someone tells you to buy XRP." Haha, oh man, what a zinger, right? Just a real sick burn. No, come on. We all know what this is about. So I had to drop a comment. I just wrote, "You suffer from the affliction known as XRP derangement syndrome. It's a tough thing to witness, really. You just hate to see it happen to someone." But you know what I find so funny about all of this, by the way? So here's the thing. I'm starting to think your take on this, Mr. Dr. Pastry, might not be quite as widely loved as you're imagining. But okay, hold on. I got to show you this because it's absolutely hilarious. There's this XRP community member, XR Prestige. Shout out to them. And they actually responded to me with this meme. Pretty sure they whipped it up using ChatGPT or something. But honestly, it's comedy gold. Check this out. It's a troll rocking this purple hat, right? And it literally just labels him as a Bitcoin maxi troll. The best part, the hat has this text that says, "I'm an adult child. Like, come on, you can't make this stuff up." And then there's this doctor in the image who's literally diagnosing this obviously toxic Bitcoin maxi troll with XRP derangement syndrome. You see that? And look, he's even got a diploma hanging on the wall back there. So the troll's just going XRP, XRP, XRP. But here's what kills me. That's genuinely what they look like in real life. Like, you know how you see these toxic Bitcoin maxi trolls all over the internet? Imagine actually running into one of these creatures in person, probably some super unlikely scenario, almost definitely under a bridge somewhere, which is totally their natural habitat, huddled up next to a literal dumpster fire trying to stay warm. That's the accurate depiction right there. Look, we got some folks out there who are still living in the stone age of crypto, right? I mean, these are the same people who probably need a YouTube tutorial just to put on their shoes in the morning. And yeah, they're rocking those Velcro straps because shoelaces, that's apparently advanced technology. They can't tie a knot, can't tie a bow, nothing. So naturally, they're huddled around their Bitcoin like it's a dumpster fire, keeping them warm under a bridge somewhere. And get this, they're charging people Bitcoin to cross, which during high congestion can take over 24 hours and cost you more than $50. Like, seriously? You absolutely hate to see it. Here's the thing. They could just use XRP. We're talking a fraction of a penny. Basically, free settles in real time. But no. XRP derangement syndrome is real, folks. I'm telling you, it's an absolute real phenomenon happening right now. So check this out. Crypto Basic covered this, and Ripple's director Matt Hamilton absolutely countered all the skepticism toward XRP. He pointed out that MicroStrategy's crypto portfolio would literally be worth twice as much today if they'd invested in XRP instead of Bitcoin. Now, folks, that's just a stone cold fact. As painful as it is for these characters walking around out here breathing the same air as us. So Matt Hamilton jumped back into this conversation. We're talking about Dr. Danish here, the pastry doctor, and Matt Hamilton, former Ripple employee and developer, he comes back with this absolute gem. He writes, "I mean, if Saylor had bought XRP instead of Bitcoin, his portfolio would literally be worth over double what it is now. So you'd be in good company if we're talking about making bad investment decisions." But here's the thing about these people. They will never admit they're wrong. Never. They're living in this bubble, completely isolated from reality. They're suffering from this affliction we call XRP derangement syndrome, and honestly, they have zero interest in intellectual honesty whatsoever. They're never going to look inward and go, wait a second, this thing's been around for 13 years now, and it just keeps persisting. This XRP thing, this thing that I've been screaming is a scam that I've been saying is going to zero. Maybe, just maybe, I should look inward and figure out what I'm not understanding here. Yeah, that's never going to happen. They're never going to look inward and ask themselves, but what am I missing? Nope. No reasonable self-reflection, nothing of the sort whatsoever. That's why we need some kind of, some sort of medical intervention for this condition, right? Look, I've actually done some deep research into potential cures here, all right? And I'm thinking we need something medical grade. Picture this, a nice therapeutic ointment, right? Something with that signature pink sludge aesthetic, kind of like calamine lotion that you'd slap on after a bad run-in with poison ivy in the woods. But here's where it gets interesting. This isn't your grandma's calamine lotion. Oh no. This bad boy is specifically formulated to cure XRP derangement syndrome. The application process is simple. Twice daily dosage, hit yourself with it once when the sun comes up, then again right before you tuck yourself into bed at night. Just take that bottle, squeeze out a generous amount, and absolutely slather it all over your stubborn, toxic Bitcoin maximalist self. And here's the magic part. Suddenly, miraculously, you stop acting absolutely ridiculous. You stop spewing complete nonsense out of that face hole of yours every time someone mentions XRP. I'm telling you, something like this could genuinely work. Now, I don't have FDA approval or anything. I'm literally just throwing ideas at the wall here. But come on, this feels like legitimate innovation we should be exploring, right? Somebody call the labs. We've got work to do. All right, so Matt Hamilton just posted something this afternoon, and guys, this hit different. He straight up said, Bitcoin maximalism is a mental disorder, and I'm here for it. Because listen, wrap your head around this logic for a minute. You're telling me that financial tech just keeps climbing, right? Innovation after innovation, breakthrough after breakthrough, constantly getting better. And then it reaches Bitcoin, and the whole thing just screeches to a halt. Done. Finished, no more evolution needed. And get this, David Schwartz, literally one of the geniuses who built XRP and the entire XRP ledger, has been hammering this exact same point. His argument is basically like, hold up, so technology is supposed to keep progressing, advancing, getting more sophisticated, but somehow when we arrive at Bitcoin, we just turn off the lights. No more competition. No complementary systems, just Bitcoin standing there alone, and innovation takes a permanent vacation? I mean, seriously. Or let's be honest about what's really happening here. Maybe, just maybe, you're drowning in Bitcoin bags and anything shiny and new walking through that door scares the absolute hell out of you. Because here's the raw, unfiltered truth nobody wants to hear. From a pure technology standpoint, Bitcoin is the pet rock of the crypto world. Go ahead, get it bronzed, put it on display above your fireplace because that sucker isn't doing anything else. It's a decoration piece. That's genuinely all it's good for. Store of value. Now look, don't get it twisted. I'm not out here shorting Bitcoin. I've been holding that thing since way back in 2017. I'm just keeping it real with you guys. Here's the deal. People genuinely love what Bitcoin brings to the table. And because it was first through the door, apparently, at least up until now, it gets a free pass on doing literally anything on layer 1. The mainnet, absolutely nothing happening there. It stores value, and it stores value because of those specific characteristics it has. That's the whole story. And look, if that means Bitcoin stays number 1 by market cap until the end of time, then fine. Whatever happens, happens. Maybe it holds that crown, maybe it doesn't. Either way, I'm totally cool with it. But what I need is to actually live in the real world and call things what they are. And this is what drives me crazy when people hold XRP to this insanely high standard, right? Like, it's got to do this, accomplish that, revolutionize the other thing. And if it's not perfect, they're like, oh, it's failing here, failing there, failing everywhere. Like, at least that's what they claim. But then you turn around and look at Bitcoin and suddenly it's like, wait, so you've got sky high expectations for XRP, but a bar so low for Bitcoin, literally the pet rock of crypto that you could trip over it. That doesn't make any damn sense whatsoever. But here we are. So I'm calling it out because honestly, it's just dumb. But what's definitely not dumb, the XRP ledger metrics right now. Like, this is the stuff you dream about seeing. If you've ever second guessed yourself wondering, did I actually pick a winner here in crypto? Or was buying XRP the smart play? Well, let me tell you something. The entire investing world in this space is basically giving you a high five right now. Look at these numbers. On basically any random day you want to choose, stretching back over the last couple months, we're talking about 4,000 to 5,000 new XRP accounts popping up. Yeah, you get the occasional weird day that's a little different, but consistently 4,000 to 5,000 daily. Now let's rewind the clock 1 year. What were those numbers looking like back then on your average day? Roughly 1,000 new accounts. Maybe slightly above that, maybe slightly below, but you're looking at about 1,000 new accounts per day 12 months ago. Fast forward to today, way more eyeballs on this and it's not going anywhere. This isn't some temporary spike that's going to disappear tomorrow. This is literally the new standard. We're operating at 4 to 5 times the level we were at just a year ago, and we're only talking about new accounts here. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? The fundamentals behind XRP have never been this strong. The actual real-world utility, more than we've ever had. Absolutely love to see it. If you think this all makes perfect sense, well, guess what? I'm right there with you, and so is the rest of the damn world, except for those toxic Bitcoin maximalists and people literally suffering from XRP derangement syndrome. Check out how many XRP wallets exist right now. Did you even realize we've blown past 7 million? That's absolutely insane. Like, seriously wild. So I've been in this game since November 2017, and when I first jumped into the deep end, there were less than 700,000 XRP wallets total. That's it. Now, XRP really started taking off mid-December 2017, and literally 2 weeks after that, it had rocketed from around 700,000 wallets to well over 1 million. But let's put this timeline in perspective for a second. At that moment, XRP had already been around for roughly half a decade, right? And it took all that time just to hit 700,000 wallets. Then boom, those next couple weeks, straight up to 1 million. So, okay, fine. You could argue it took about half a decade to reach 1 million wallets. But where are we sitting today? Well, think about this for a minute. We're at 7 million. 7 million wallets. And that's only 7.5 years later. The growth rate has been accelerating at a seriously impressive pace. It's completely undeniable at this point. And hey, look at this part too. All right, so this data is coming straight from CoinShares. They do this thing called the Digital Asset Fund Flows Weekly Report. There's a guy, James Butterfield, who cranks these out every week, and I'll drop them on you from time to time. Today I've got the 2 latest ones to show you. And man, what we're seeing here is just wild. I was pointing a lot of this out back in April, May timeframe, right when XRP's price was getting hammered, when everything was red across the board, measuring XRP against the US dollar. But here's the kicker, the money flowing in, massive. And remember, these reports aren't tracking what's going down on regular exchanges or anything like that. This is institutional money we're talking about, the big players. And when you look at how much capital is moving around week after week, the institutional investment for Bitcoin and Ethereum, complete dumpster fire. But XRP, now that's where it gets really interesting. And peep these numbers from just 2 weeks back. Bitcoin, hemorrhaging $719 million in 1 week. Ethereum, bleeding out $409 million in that same 1 week window. And XRP gained $93 million. Actually, UP. Now look, I'm not saying XRP is going to crush Bitcoin and Ethereum every single week. Let's be real here. I mean, I really shouldn't even need to say this because you already know the whole market tends to move together, right? But what I'm really trying to spotlight here is just how fascinating it is that so often, even during those brutal stretches for Bitcoin and Ethereum, XRP somehow manages to hold its own and do pretty damn well. And then you've got this brand new report that just dropped, technically came out today, showing data all the way through October 4th. This is the latest one hot off the presses. You can see right here, you've got Bitcoin, and this shouldn't shock anyone because you've watched what's been happening with the price. Obviously, number go up, right? And for sure, at the institutional level, this isn't a bunch of retail traders FOMOing in anymore. That's definitely not what's driving this. I went deep on that in my last video, actually, but holy crap, look at these numbers. Oh my freaking God. $3.5 billion flowing into Bitcoin in just 1 week. You absolutely love to see it. It's bonkers, honestly. And Ethereum, Jesus Christ, it's even crazier. The numbers are actually higher there. Now for XRP, you've got 219 million coming in, and it's still showing positive growth. But here's what typically plays out. You've got Bitcoin, and once we hit this particular phase of the market cycle, it finally launches into that parabolic moonshot rally. And then it basically just stops. I mean, it's gonna hit its peak eventually, right? And that's exactly when XRP steps up and takes the spotlight. And I genuinely think when that moment hits, you're going to see that institutional money absolutely explode even further. We're not quite at that inflection point yet, But trust me, it's coming. And also, check this out. XRP interest over time according to Google Trends. Now, I want to point something out real quick. The price of XRP is sitting around $3 as I'm recording this right now. And it's just chilling at what's basically become the new baseline, stretching back about the last 6 months or so. So, yeah, you saw that massive spike in July when XRP smashed through to its new all-time high of $3.65. Then you got another surge in November and early December when XRP started its first real run in roughly 7 years. But here's the thing, folks. We're not done yet. Not even close. Seeing the price sitting where it is right now before we even get to that final parabolic explosion for altcoins and XRP specifically, it's like, whoa, mind-blowing. And you can clearly see the interest level is elevated. Now remember, it is sitting higher than where we peaked back in 2021. But come on, XRP was getting artificially held down during that whole period anyway. And honestly, there was way less buzz around crypto that cycle compared to even the one before it. So yeah, we're only tracking the last 5 years here, but holy crap. Does this not look incredibly promising for what's ahead? I genuinely believe this thing is about to absolutely tear through the roof. I'm talking significantly higher than anything we've experienced so far. And if history teaches us anything, it's that the second wave up, always way more intense and dramatic than that first initial climb. So that's all I'm going to say. But enough from me. I want to hear what you guys are thinking about all this. I am not a financial advisor, all right? Do not go buying or selling anything just because of what I'm saying here. Seriously, folks.